If you rely on thyroid hormone drugs, HRT hormone replacement therapy, or GLP-1 medications, you may be wondering what effect the new tariffs in 2025 will have on your treatment. Paloma Health is here to explain it for you. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods, and they are paid by importing companies. Governments use tariffs to influence trade and protect domestic industries. But when it comes to your medications, these policies can have unintended side effects. For the Paloma patient community, commonly prescribed medications include thyroid hormone replacement drugs for hypothyroidism. Levothyroxine, synthetic T4, is the most commonly prescribed thyroid medication, and there are brands like Synthroid, Levoxyl, Tariffs, and Euthyrox, as well as a long list of generic products. Liothyronine, synthetic T3, is available as brand names Cytomel and various generics. And natural desiccated thyroid, NDT, is available as brand names Armour and NP Thyroid, as well as compounded forms. Paloma also provides care for perimenopause and menopause. Multiple brand name and generic forms of progesterone and estrogen, used for hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, are available. Paloma also works with patients who want to lose weight, and our providers prescribe GLP-1 drugs like semaglutide and tirzepatide. These medications are available in brand name forms like Wegovy and Zepbound, and various generic and custom compounded formulations. Many of the active pharmaceutical ingredients, known as APIs, for these drugs, as well as the finished medications, come from outside the US, especially in China and India. No matter where a product is produced and packaged, the tariffs typically are applied to the country where the API is produced. So even if a medication is packaged in the US, if the API is imported, and about 70 to 90% of APIs are, then tariffs still apply. Experts suggest that the brand name drugs, usually sold at higher prices by bigger manufacturers, are likely to absorb the increased costs from tariffs in the short term, meaning that you won't see an immediate price increase if you have health coverage and use a brand name medication. Over time, however, if tariffs continue, and as deals with health insurers are renegotiated, the tariffs on brand name drugs are likely to end up being passed down to consumers, resulting in higher prices. Generic drugs, sold at very low profit margins, have less flexibility and resilience. Prices on generic drugs are expected to rise more quickly as the manufacturers pass along increased costs due to tariffs. In addition to price increases, tariffs can also lead to bottlenecks and shortages, especially during times of high demand, like we saw with the recent GLP-1 shortages. Medication manufacturers may shift sourcing, raise prices, or struggle to maintain steady supplies. Some generic manufacturers may also decide to bypass the US market entirely, which could also lead to shortages of some generic drugs. On a national scale, the hope is that tariffs will promote domestic manufacturing of APIs and finished medications, reducing our dependency on imports. But the best-case scenario suggests that it will take a minimum of 2 to 3 years to shift production of even some generic drugs to the United States. So, the cost and availability of medications are likely to be affected for several years, at minimum. At Paloma Health, we work with patients managing chronic conditions, from hypothyroidism to menopause to hormonal weight gain. When tariffs impact the price or availability of medications, it can directly disrupt your treatment plans and long-term health goals. There are some things you can start doing right now. First, be smart about your health insurance coverage for medications. Know what's covered, and what's not, and if you can, focus on insurance programs that cover needed drugs. Don't hesitate to use patient assistance and coupon programs to reduce the costs of your brand name medications. And check with discount programs like GoodRx and Single Care for bigger savings on both brand names and generics. See about getting 90-day refills, so you have a cushion in the event of shortages. And finally, be proactive and stay in communication with your care team. Be sure to let them know if you're having trouble accessing or affording your medications, as they may have alternatives and options to help. Paloma has put together a 15-minute podcast that explains the implications of tariffs for our patient community in greater detail. The link to the podcast is in the YouTube comments. We also have a detailed article at the Paloma blog, explaining the effects of tariffs on medications, including brand name and generic levothyroxine, liothyronine, natural desiccated thyroid, estrogen, and progesterone hormone replacement medications, and GLP-1 drugs, brand name and generic, for weight loss. You'll find a link to the article in the description. At Paloma Health, we believe informed patients are healthier, happier, more empowered patients. Tariffs and trade policies might seem like just issues in the news, but they actually can affect our daily care. By understanding the system, we can navigate it, together, for better health. This video has been brought to you by Paloma Health, the nation's leading medical practice dedicated to hypothyroidism care. Learn more at www.palomahealth.com.